you were stuck on a golf course, would you call Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, or Phil Mickelson?
Oh, Tiger Woods. If I could call Tiger Woods, I would call Tiger Woods.
Just off the golf course. Would you just call him?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So does that mean he can come and play? How does that work? Is it to come and play?
He has to save your life in a golf situation or otherwise. Zombies could be eating your brains in a golf course. And Tiger Woods will come help.
I'm calling Tiger Woods.
Welcome to yet another episode of Nights Unplugged. Now, this is your weekly dose of your favorite nights from the Kolkata Knight Riders, and we have somebody really special joining us this Saturday. Now, he is a returning knight. He's had a phenomenal 2019. Eoin Morgan is with us. How are you? How are things? You're joining us straight from England. How have you been?
Yeah, I'm really well, thank you. I suppose it's a very strange time for everybody at the moment, but certainly the last few weeks for me, it's been very similar. We've have a newborn baby at home. He's 3 weeks old, so we've been very lucky in the fact that we think we're getting the best of a bad situation. We've been able to spend a lot more time with him than I would have been if it was a normal type of start of the summer. So I'm trying to enjoy the situation for what it is. It's obviously a very difficult time, but for me the time is to spend time with your family, stay in touch, and ultimately stay as safe as possible. I think everybody's goal is to hopefully not contract a virus and come out the other side of this healthy along with the rest of their family. So I've been enjoying TV series, reading books. Today the weather is beautiful, so we're having a barbecue outside as we speak. So it's I'm trying to make the most of the bad situation.
Now, what we're trying to do is bring sunshine and happiness to the fans of the Kolkata Knight Riders in these testing times. Now, one thing I'm wanting to ask you is we've spent a big chunk of the World Cup calling you Captain Morgan because there has been some confusion around how exactly we should be pronouncing your name, and I'm sure that there are plenty of fans around the subcontinent who have that issue as well. So we're going to do a mini tutorial on how we pronounce your name. The stage is yours.
The best way to pronounce it is if it's spelled O-W-E-N, like Owen, like Michael Owen, the ex-England footballer. And I tell people not to look at the spelling at all, because once they look at the spelling, they start trying to pronounce every single letter in the word, whereas it's actually a Celtic name and it's a little bit far-fetched, but Owen is how you pronounce it.
Alright, so now I think fans of the Kolkata Knight Riders know how to say your name. I'm pretty sure they're already very, very excited to see you in action very, very soon with the KKR camp. But talk us through what's happening during this quarantine. Is there any particular skill that you've picked up? What are you doing with your time at home?
Well, we've been busy with the baby a lot. Apart from that, I've watched a little bit of Netflix. I've just finished the TV series Narcos, based on Pablo Escobar, which I thought was good. Very graphic, but very good. And I've just started rewatching The Sopranos, the TV series. It's one of my favourite TV series of all time, so it was a nice excuse to go back and watch it. I've read a couple of books that I've really enjoyed, and I do a little bit of workout, but I think people are becoming obsessed with exercise. I think it's becoming their way of dealing with isolation, whereas I'm not that way inclined at all. I'll do enough to keep my fitness up, but as regards enjoying the lockdown, fitness isn't going to be a major part of it. So we've been eating nice food and drinking nice wine. So yeah, doing anything to put a smile on our face.
Talking about any of the household chores that you've been helping out with, anything in particular you've gotten really good at?
No, well, I've embraced cooking. I really enjoy cooking because I've been watching I've signed up to a website called masterclass.com, and it does everything from deal with leadership situations to cooking classes to teaching you about, there's a guy called Garry Kasparov who's a grandmaster chess player who teaches you about the dynamics and strategies of how to win a game of chess. So everything is far-fetched as that, but I think the thing I'm enjoying the most is cooking. Today the barbecue's lit, so We prepared all the salads and have the wine outside, so just need to marinate a little bit of the meat and then head outside and enjoy a bit of sun.
Almost a month now since there's been an addition to your family. Anything in particular when it comes to parenting that you really enjoy? Changing the diapers, burping, staying up all night? What's your favorite bit?
All of it. I've changed about 1,000 nappies so far. My wife doesn't seem to enjoy that, but I don't mind it. As long as you get to spend time with them, it's fine. They're so small and all they do is eat, sleep and go to the toilet. So it's a pretty simple life. A life in which I'm pretty jealous at it. Well, although that's exactly what I'm doing in isolation. Yeah, I think everybody's doing that. No, just spending time with them is pretty good, and being at home. As cricketers, we don't get to spend a lot of time at home. I think, in a weird way, when we go away on tour and spend a lot of time in hotel rooms, we actually live in isolation a lot of the time. So we're perhaps prepared for it better than other people.
Let's talk about the IPL coming back this season, being picked once again. Were you looking forward to it? How excited were you for this brand new season?
Yeah, I was extremely excited, particularly going back to Kolkata. I had 3 seasons there that I thoroughly enjoyed before. They're one of the best run teams. Everything from the owners right down to the young players. There's when you look at the IPL as a whole, since the very beginning, they are one of 3 teams that has had the most success, and it's easy to see why they have the level of consistency that they show, and I suppose belief in retaining that group of core players, or the core beliefs. They really do back the players that they have done from the very beginning, or if they believe that the guy has the right values or leadership skills to take the team forward, they stick with him, and again, they've had great success with that as well.
Returning to the Kolkata Knight Riders, you were part of the 2012 side when we won the championship for the very first time. You must definitely have some extremely fond memories with the side. Anything you can think of at the moment?
Yeah, that was a pretty chaotic season. And being in a squad where you do win it for the first time, you see the reaction when you sort of return to the city. I literally returned for a couple of hours and then flew out. But people lined the streets. I remember Eden Gardens being full, all the pictures of the boys going around and doing laps of honour, and just the pure joy on people's faces about how proud they were to support a team that had been successful was amazing.
When you talk about Eoin Morgan as a batsman, now we've spoken about your transformation and how you've come to become this finisher. Initially, you played the role of an anchor in an innings, but how did this transformation occur? How do we now see Eoin Morgan smashing it around the park when there are only a couple of balls left?
The more experience that I've got and the more that I've played, I find myself batting in that middle order and hopefully being there at the end. It's probably one of the better skills that I do have, and probably over the last 2 years it's been at its best. So I'm hoping that I'm coming into the best years of my cricket yet. It's a nice place to be, and I remember when I first started out and everybody talked about playing 50 or 100 games or 150 games and you would become a better player, and in the back of my head I sort of thought, is that true? Do I believe that? And certainly now I do. There are a lot of mistakes that I've made before that I sort of don't make now, and I feel more comfortable with the way I play and almost the way that I fail as opposed to anything.
The reverse sweep. How did you get so good at it?
I think practice. When I first came to London as a 16-year-old, I signed with Middlesex, and playing at Lords, where the boundaries are very short square of the wicket and they're really long straight. I hadn't quite filled out as a young 16, 17-year-old. So when I played in the first team as a 17, 18-year-old, trying to clear the long straight boundary of Lords was very difficult for me. So I started playing a lot more sweeps than probably your average player, and just because they were more effective at our home ground, and I sort of drilled the reverse sweep and the sweep for as long as I could, and the reverse sweep's been one of my favourite shots because it's been so effective over the years, and I've probably play it less and less now because things have changed and people sort of set fields for that. But that's the reason why I play it so much. I practiced it a hell of a lot. I needed to find a way in it to score boundaries in that middle period. And like I mentioned before, clearing the ropes straight for me wasn't an option, having got out a couple of times and fallen short.
Now, talking about yourself, 2019 was a phenomenal year, winning the ICC Men's 50 Over World Cup. You are one of the only 4 players in the history of the sport to have represented 2 countries at the World Cup. Who are the other 3 players? It's a little trivia question that I thought I'll just throw in.
I think I know 2 of them. Ed Joyce is one.
Yeah.
Kepler Wessels. No, I don't know. I thought it was Albatross. I thought he played for Australia and England.
It's West Indies and Canada. It's Anderson Cummins.
Ah, very good. Okay. No, I didn't know that.
But yeah, the World Cup, tell us about that. How was that campaign? Have you absorbed the full impact of it? How does it feel now, a few months in?
It feels amazing. I think the journey that we went on is probably the thing that I get most excited about. I suppose where we were in 2015, the embarrassing nature in which we were bundled out of that World Cup and the journey we went on to try and change the brand of cricket that we played with a new group of players that were extremely talented over the course of 4 years, just being able to impart some of my knowledge and experience along with some of our senior players and a group of great support staff who always continue to question what we do in a good way in order to hold us accountable. And it sort of culminated in last year's World Cup, and even the World Cup to a certain extent was, the final was the most dramatic game of cricket and the best game of cricket probably that's ever been played, which contributes to the hype of it. For us at home, it has lifted the profile of the game like we've never seen. Straight after the World Cup win was the Ashes series, which was absolutely amazing to watch. Australia thoroughly deserved to win it, but again, the dramatic nature in which the whole series unfolded really did attract the whole of the country and sort of galvanise one of our biggest rivalries in sport, and it was fascinating to watch. And I thought it was a great year for us, cricket-wise. But yes, it's awesome.
Straight after the World Cup, before the Ashes, a couple of other exciting things happened in England, celebrating the big victory, the World Cup victory. Now, I have some pictures with me. I'm going to show them to you. You tell me how do you feel about them? What's your reaction? Okay, so there were parents that named their baby Henry Eoin Morgan Bridgeland. How does that make you feel?
That's when they contacted me and told me, I didn't believe it. I thought it was some sort of a joke that people were messing around with and winding me up. But I'm flattered. It's great that so many people watched it, and to have your name and associated with something is great as well. But to be named after somebody and be that person is quite cool. Yeah.
Babies were named after you. Even post boxes were named after you. I don't think you can see that. Tell us the story here. That's a nice picture.
Yes. So the Royal Mail here, who deliver all the posts up and down the United Kingdom, sort of came and said, we'd like to acknowledge you as captain and your World Cup win. And I live near Lords, so my local post box is now white with engraved plaque with 2019 World Cup winners England, local resident, captain the side type thing.
Right, and it wasn't only post boxes and babies. Captain Morgan had a whole new meaning.
I think that's why people in India call me Captain Morgan. It's not because they can't pronounce my forename, it's because they drink a lot of rum. They really like the Captain Morgan brand. But yeah, I've been an ambassador now for 5 years, and they've been so kind to me. They they do things that are actually funny the whole time. And when you're associated with a brand that's interested in having a good time and doing things right, I think it's pretty cool.
Now I have some fun questions that I want to ask you. If you were stuck in these following places or situations, who would you call to save your life? Now I have options as well, so you can take your time, think about it. Give me justifications if you want to. Okay? So the first one, you were stuck on a golf course. Would you call Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, or Phil Mickelson?
Oh, Tiger Woods. If I could call Tiger Woods, I would call Tiger Woods.
Just off the golf course. You just call him.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So does that mean he can come and play? How does that work? Is it to come and play?
He has to save your life in a golf situation or otherwise. Zombies could be eating your brains in a golf course. And Tiger Woods will come help.
I'm calling Tiger Woods.
Okay. Okay. Football ground. Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, or Wayne Rooney?
That's easy. Lionel Messi.
Yeah? Why? Favorite? All-time favorite?
Yeah, I'm not a huge football fan, but I'm a huge sports fan. And when I watch football and watch Messi in particular, just the ease at which he makes absolute excellence look is completely mesmerizing.
Okay. On a Game of Thrones battleground, would you call Jon Snow, Khaleesi, or Arya Stark?
I've never watched Game of Thrones.
Okay. I think you should call Khaleesi. She's the mother of dragons, but okay.
Go with that.
On a cricket ground, you wouldn't need too much help, but would you call Andre Russell, Sunil Narayan, or Jacques Kallis?
Oh, Andre Russell. Because I know they're all rounders, but I think for the last 3 or 4 years, Andre Russell's been the most destructive player we've seen, certainly in our generation. What he does is incredible.
Yeah, I agree with that. Stuck in space, would you call Matt Damon, Shah Rukh Khan, or Sandra Bullock?
Yeah, so I'm a massive Jason Bourne fan. Jason Bourne and James Bond. So I'm going to have to upset Shah Rukh and say Matt Damon.
Okay. On a tennis court, would you call Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, or Serena Williams?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think I'd have to go for Roger. In a similar way to Messi, he just makes things look elegant and easy when they're extremely difficult.
Stuck on a ship, would you call Kate Winslet from Titanic? Would you call Harrison Ford or Leo DiCaprio?
Oh, Leo DiCaprio. Definitely. I think he spends a lot of time on ships, yachts and things, so yeah, that'll work.
Stuck in a forest, would you be stuck in a forest with Bear Grylls, with Steve Irwin, or Steven Spielberg?
Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls, definitely. If we're going to get out of the forest or do anything, he'll know what to do.
Okay. And drive you in a car action scene, would you want Daniel Craig, Tom Cruise, or Jason Statham?
Oh, Daniel Craig, definitely. And he can drive around in his DBS or DB9 that they drive in the Bond films, which is quite cool.